So I wanted to talk about the second round of the playoffs based off of my video I made earlier this week. Go watch that first if you haven't. But getting right into it, in the second round in the West, you would have the Lakers play the Rockets. I know the Rockets beat the Lakers kind of recently, a couple weeks ago. It might have been now. And a lot of teams were overreacting, or a lot of people were overreacting based on, oh, well, the Rockets won with their small ball. It looks like they can make it far. Personally, I think the Lakers beat the Rockets in 5 or 6 games. I think 6 might be generous. I don't think the Rockets have enough to stop Anthony Davis 4 games. I think come playoff time, I don't know who on the Rockets team can stop Anthony Davis. And the Lakers have tremendous overall size compared to the Rockets. I mean, you got JaVale, Dwight Howard, Anthony Davis. Just compared to the tallest players on the Rockets, that's a big difference. It's going to take Harden and Westbrook or one or the other for them to take over, for them to really have a chance at winning this series. But realistically, I think the Rockets lose. I think the Lakers win in probably 5 games. In the second matchup in the West, you got the Clippers playing the Nuggets. I think that'll be a good series overall. I think both teams are super deep, and that's their best quality. That's how deep of a roster they have, 1 to 15. I think the Clippers win in 6 or 7 games. If the playoffs started today, the Nuggets would have a home game 7, but I just don't think they have enough established stars yet. Obviously, this all revolves around if Paul George is healthy enough and is who he was before, as I said in my previous video. But they already have the most dynamic bench in the NBA with Reggie Jackson, Lou, Montrez, and Morris. It's going to be tough for the Nuggets to beat them all 48 minutes. The Nuggets are 2-0 against the Clippers this year, but both games Paul George didn't play. In one game, Kawhi only played 11 minutes, so I'm not taking that stat too seriously. I don't think they're good enough to beat a healthy Clippers team, but they are a very good, young, talented team. So I think the Clippers probably close that out in 7 games. Going to the East, I think the Bucks-Heat series would be really good, but I'm going to take the Bucks in 6 games. It all comes down to Giannis and whether or not he has to carry. If the Heat can lock in on Giannis, and if they put Butler on him and they bother him all series and they force him to shoot jump shots, then that's going to be the Heat's best chance at winning the series. But for the Bucks to close this one out, they're going to need their other guys to really step up, being Bledsoe, Middleton, George Hill, DiVincenzo. I think if Giannis can do what he's been doing all season and he can draw the double teams, he's really going to need his other guys to hit big jump shots. And I think they have a very capable team. I think Bledsoe's going to have a bounce back playoff. Middleton as well. George Hill has proven that he can show up. He can do things in the playoffs. He's an older veteran guy. DiVincenzo's been playing really good this year. He can do a little bit of everything. Obviously, that's going to be the biggest concern for the Bucks because last year you saw Bledsoe disappear and Middleton had some rough playoff moments. But you could say the same thing for the Miami Heat because the Heat are relying a lot on their younger role players, being Duncan Robinson, Kendrick Nunn, Tyler Herro. But they have a lot of quality guys, and they got a lot of guys that can stretch the floor. I think for the Heat, it's going to come down to them hitting jump shots in the playoffs. I think they can definitely steal some games, but Giannis is the overwhelming best player on the court in that series. Jimmy Butler's the second player, but realistically, it's Giannis, the very top, and then Butler's pretty far below him. So if the Bucks can play how they've been playing all year, I don't think the Heat will pose a serious problem. I think they could win 1 or 2 games, but I'm taking Bucks in 6. The last series in the East is the Raptors Celtics, and I think this will be a really good one. I think you could really go either way as to who you think is going to win this series. I think talent-wise, they both match up really well. Right now, the Celtics lead the series 2-1. But honestly, I really believe in Tatum and Kemba Walker. I think both teams have really good depth in supporting cast. You got some matchups in Kemba versus Lowry, Jaylen Brown versus Freddie Van Fleet, and Tatum versus Siakam, probably the biggest matchup there. But we've seen a Celtics team with a younger Tatum take LeBron to 7 games before, and Tatum's much better now, and the Celtics team overall is much better now, if you ask me. It's going to all be about stopping the Raptors' supporting guys, being Ibaka, Freddie, Gasol, Norman Powell, who's having a really good year, by the way, and OG Anunoby, who's a really switchy, solid player. And I think for the Raptors side, they really just got to stop the three-headed monster, Brown, Tatum, and Walker. I think the Raptors have the ability to stop them. They have some really solid defenders like Lowry, Powell, OG. But at the end of the day, I'm taking Celtics in 7 games because I think Tatum's going to win the Siakam matchup ultimately and put them over the top. I think this one goes to 7 for sure. I'm taking the Celtics at the end of the day. Now in the conference finals, I'm going to talk a while about this. In the West, you got the Lakers-Clippers, just like everyone imagined. Everyone wanted Lakers-Clippers in the conference finals. I think it's going to happen. But I'm going to take Clippers in 7. And that'll probably upset some Lakers guys, but let me say why. Obviously, this series hinges on if Paul George is healthy, as I've said for the previous series. But assuming he's better and the Clippers are at full strength, I think the Clippers are a much more deep team. They have a great star pair and a great supporting cast. And you know Kawhi is going to play 40 minutes in the playoffs. He doesn't take the regular season series, but playoff Kawhi is a different animal. And he's proven he's a top 5 player, probably top 3. And the Clippers just have so many different guys that can kill you. They have so many players that can give the Lakers headaches. They got Reggie Jackson now. He's going to be a really solid probably one of the better bench point guards in the NBA. They got Morris, who they stole from the Lakers. And they got Lou Will off the bench. Everyone knows who Lou Will is, what he brings. And even Montrezl Harrell can give them energy. I think he can spark a little energy if the game's ever going towards the Lakers' way. I think he could have a play where he gets 3 offensive rebounds and dunks it, and the crowd goes crazy and switches the momentum of the game. That's just the type of players that the Clippers have, especially coming off the bench. And I don't think the Lakers really have that. The Lakers' biggest chance of winning is if LeBron goes old LeBron and takes over the game. But I don't know if he can do that anymore. I wouldn't bet against it. But is he going to be able to do that on Kawhi and Paul George? I talked about this before. Or Anthony Davis is going to have to bully the Clippers big man and prove he's the best player on the court. This could also happen. Everyone knows how good Anthony Davis is. I love this matchup because there's no favorite team. It's all going to come down to star matchups and whose supporting cast can push them past one another. The Lakers still have their depth issues because right now you're really relying on Kuzma, Caruso, Rondo, and Dwight Howard to help you off the bench. Danny Green and Avery Bradley are really average players to me. They can bring maybe 8 points, 10 points. Danny Green can get hot, but he hasn't been doing that recently, so hopefully he can step up in the playoffs. He's done that before. I know the Clippers stole Morris and Jackson from the Lakers, but it just doesn't look like the Lakers have enough. If the Lakers want a chance to win, they're going to have to get something big from Kuzma big time. The Lakers, I don't think they can win with just LeBron and Anthony Davis. They need someone to take the weight off their shoulders, and the best chance on that roster is probably Kyle Kuzma. He really needs to embrace his role more. So they need to talk to him and tell him, hey, if you want a chance at winning a championship this year, you need to be our Lou Williams. You need to come off the bench and give us 20 points in one of these playoff games. I think he can do that, but I'm not betting on it. I really don't think Kuzma's going to show up in the playoffs like he's capable of, and I think that could be the demise of the Lakers. But when it all comes down to it, I'm taking Clippers in 7. I think they just have more favorable matchups, and Kawhi Leonard is just a different animal, really. In the East, Bucks versus Celtics. I'm not going to go into as much depth on this one. because I think the Bucks win in 5 games. I know the Celtics are a really talented team, but this might upset some people, but I don't think the Celtics have an A-tier player. I think they have 3 B to B plus tier players in Tatum, Walker, and Brown. But I don't think they have a guy that can take over the series for them yet. If there is a guy that can do it, it's Kemba Walker. And they're going to need him to turn into Charlotte Kemba and get some 40-point playoff games. They're going to need that for them to beat the Bucks. I don't know how you stop Giannis. The Celtics have a lot of good wings. Tatum, Brown, Marcus Smart plays good defense, but I don't know who's going to stop Giannis. One thing to note is I don't think you need to stop Giannis to beat the Bucks. I think if you let Giannis get his, but if you hold Middleton to 10 points, if you hold George Hill to 5 points, if Bledsoe scores 8 points, I think they can win a series, or I think they can steal some games if they just hold everybody other than Giannis. I think if you're the Bucks, they just need to keep playing how they've been playing all season. They need to let Giannis run the show, and their outside guys need to be ready to shoot when Giannis has 3 people on him. Bledsoe's going to need to really have a redemption playoffs. He really needs to show up. This is big for him. Middleton is going to have to be himself. He's going to need to give them 20 a night, 25 probably. But if we're talking about things that are more likely and more likely to happen, I'm going to take Bucks in probably 5 games. I don't think the Celtics are going to be able to stop Giannis. And I'm not going to talk about the finals this video, but I got Clippers Bucks, and you'll find out who I got next video. See y'all.